Hello, this is Jamal Thomas with the Progressive Soapbox. www.theprogressivesoapbox.org. So, I need to start today off with an apology. I am sorry. A friend of mine, a close friend of mine, the guy who was the best man at my wedding. By the way, I'm here with my wife, Aisha Hollingworth Thomas at this point.
You don't know my name?
Yes, Hollingsworth Thomas. It's going to be Hollingsworth Thomas, something like that. So, he came over and he was like, he shamed me after seeing my Kanye West video. And he said he didn't engage him fairly and he joked about the man's mental health. Alright, fair enough. I did joke about the man's mental health. Fair enough. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to joke. I made this comment at the very end of the video saying that, yeah, but take it with a grain of salt because the man just got out of a mental hospital. I think it's funny, but not everybody does. So I'm sorry. And I am going to do Jalil a solid and I'm going to hit the issue fairly and straightforwardly and take it at its merits. So, Kanye West visited Donald Trump yesterday at Trump Tower. Well, not yesterday, a few days ago at Trump Towers. And he said in a tweet, I wanted to meet with Trump today to discuss multicultural issues. Alright, that's good. These issues included bullying, supporting teachers, modernizing curriculums, and violence in Chicago. Alright, that's a good name. I feel it is important to have a direct line of communication with our future president if we truly want change. Alright. I actually take Kanye at his word for this. And I think it's actually a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. Now, the question is it going to matter? I don't think it does. And this kind of rolls into this issue of, should we give Donald Trump a chance? Kanye West seems to think yes. My friend of mine, Jalil, seems to think yes. Alright. He's not elected yet. Personally, I think Kanye is a photo op. I think he is politically naive, and I'll tell you why. People are policy. So, I know you can be hopeful and everything else, but people are policy. The people that you put in the cabinet are your policy. That's your vision. You're essentially saying, I am putting people in positions to articulate my legislative agenda. Alright? So who does Trump have in his policy? Who does Trump have in his cabinet? Clearly, if Kanye is right, if Jalil is right, if all those people out there saying give Trump a chance is right, then we will see it in the people he's putting in his cabinet. I gotta be honest. So, I've seen this list. And I keep thinking to myself that Trump is accumulating a list just to tell everybody that ever joked him and laughed at him in the government to fuck you. That's how bad the list is. It's as if a comic book villain decided that he was like Lex Luthor gets the holes of the presidency and is putting comic book villains in these positions. This is what this will look like. Like if Saturday Night Live was doing a skit, and they put these people in these positions, it would be hilarious. We're like, nobody would do that. Donald Trump would do that. Alright, so let's see what we got. Let's see who our next presidents and our leaders are going to be. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Let's see. Rex Tillerson brings with him zero experience to the role. He was the outgoing chairman of ExxonMobil. He has $151 million in company stock. And essentially, it's tied up in Russia with Vladimir Putin, who apparently these guys seem to be closely affiliated with. Alright. Look, he's assured us that $151 million in company stock and that lifetime of work with ExxonMobil in no way affects his opinion that global warming is a hoax, and it also will in no way affect his abilities in Secretary of State when dealing with Russia. So, look, man, I'm skeptical, but you never know. Next guy, James Mad Dog Mathis. Mathis. Wow, look at that guy. Look at those eyes.
He's kind of creepy looking.
Yeah, he is kind of creepy. He has Mad Dog in his name, so take it with a grain of salt. He will need a special waiver from Congress because he hasn't been out of the uniform for the amount of time. So look, the reason why they do this is the United States has a clear bar, for the most part, up to this point. Well, not even up to this point, but a clear bar between civilian and military service. We do not want the military dictating policy. Those are bad things. That's called a dictatorship.
Is that what that is?
That's kind of what it is. And the last thing you want, look, to a hammer, the world looks like a nail. To the military, the world looks like a nail. If you ask the military guy for a solution, he's going to blow some shit up. And so you don't necessarily want those guys dictating policy. You want somebody who has other interests other than, what can I blow up? That sounds bad, but it's true. So that's Mathis. He's going to be our Secretary of Defense. John Kelly. Retired Marine General, 45-year military career. Okay, good job. This guy was ahead. Look, he was ahead of other things, but his most notable work is at Guantanamo Bay, where they essentially tortured people, some of which they tortured to death. And in many cases, there were force feedings and... Look, you guys saw the pictures to Guantanamo Bay. You saw what they did to those people. And it was gross. And, the question has to be asked, do we want our servicemen... Look, do you want your kid? Do you want your uncle? Do you want your dad? Hell, do you want your mom going to serve their country and are in a gulag, torturing people, or force-feeding people? I mean, look, man, is that what you really want? When the Soviet Union had gulags, the United States was like, look, those guys have gulags. Oh, look at them. We got gulags. We have a gulag. Do you know why this place is in Guantanamo Bay? They put it in Guantanamo Bay because they wanted to be outside the United States law. They knew the shit was going to be bad. They literally put it in another country so our laws wouldn't apply to it. That guy is going to be Homeland Security. You got to think to yourself, if they're going to do a Muslim registry, is that the guy who's they're going to have? Oh, man. All right, well, who's next? CIA Director Mike Pompeo, third-term congressman from Kansas, a critic of the Iran deal, so I'm sure he totally wants a war, a critic of closing Guantanamo Bay, that's awesome, called the people who participated in the torture program heroes, all right, that's a good thing.
Call for Edward Snowden to be executed.
Yeah, and there is that. Alright, I'll take a side on this one. I have a guy at work who's a friend of mine. I'm not gonna call it, John. And he's of the mind, he was in the military. And he was of the mind that, for the most part, Edward Snowden is a traitor. And because he leaked those documents. I think both of these guys are wrong. Extraordinarily wrong. Look, what is your government doing in your name? And how do you know what your government is doing in your name? And are there some things that your government may be doing in your name that they shouldn't be doing in your name because it has nothing to do with your best interests? If the government is doing something illegal, there are whistleblower laws for a reason. They're whistleblowing because they're doing something illegal. The United States was bulk spying. They were spying at a level that was unprecedented. And it was against the law. They weren't supposed to be spying to that degree. It's that simple. Now you could say, um, if you release some secrets that I don't know that impugn, United States issues in the world, like that made people unsafe. Maybe, but that's not what we have. What we have is people in power who don't want that information to be released, saying, "Yeah, he's making people unsafe." I'm not taking your word for it. What I saw was the United States was doing something that it had no business doing. And he released documents showing that the United States had no business doing it. It was that simple. And look, either you need to know what your government is doing or not. And you need whistleblowers to come out when the government is doing something that it has no business doing what it's doing. It's that simple. Sometimes your government is doing stuff that's wrong. That's that simple. It's wrong. When Bradley Manning released that footage of the United States murdering journalists, and they locked him up, did they do anything to the guys that murdered the journalists? Why are you locking up the guy who says, "Hey, there's shit over there. Hey, you shut up about that shit over there"? Come on, man. Come on. I'm sorry. Yeah, he should not be shot. He should be able to come back into the United States. I consider him a goddamn hero for being able to show, the courage to do it, and seeing what they did in torturing Bradley Manning. And look, it needed to be shown. The American public needed to have a conversation about what level of spine do we want our government to have. We're surveilled at a level that is beyond anything any other society has ever seen on the planet. You may not want to say, "Hey, that looks a little bit totalitarian-ish," and it may make you uncomfortable to say that. But the conversation needs to be had, and I don't think it's hyperbole to say, "Hey, do we want our government mass spying on us?" I want to say no. I want to say no to that. I want to have a conversation. I want to be able to have a conversation and say yes or no to to the question. And I don't want to necessarily be in secrecy when they do it. So look, all right. So look, I don't like Mike Pompeo. All right, Stephen Munich for Secretary Treasury. Campaign finance. That's awesome. Goldman Sachs hedge funder, Hollywood producer. He's called the foreclosure king because he essentially got his. Well, he essentially made a ton of cash foreclosing on people. So in one situation, there was like a grandmother who pays the overwhelming majority of the bill. I think there was like 12 cents left on the bill. Don't quote me on the numbers. And they foreclosed on her anyway for 12 cents. There was another guy who had a conversation with somebody over the phone and says, "Yes, everything's good, we're great." And then as soon as they hang up the phone, they foreclose on this house behind the man's back and sells it. It's amazing. Alright, that Treasury Secretary. Alright, let's keep moving. Oh man, Jeff Sessions, Attorney General. Look at that face. Look at those beady eyes. Alright. U.S. Senator for Alabama. Former U.S. Attorney, State Attorney, and immigration hardliner who was an early Trump adopter, becoming the first senator to back the eventual winner. This guy is the same guy. Okay, I remember him. He's a Law and Order guy, and he made a joke saying he thought the only thing wrong with the Klan was that they smoked pot. There's a lot of stuff wrong with the Klan, and it had nothing to do with this smoking pot. Alright, Attorney General. I had my issues with Eric Holder, particularly in regards to him not going after Wall Street. And even with Loretta Lynch and the whole Dapple thing. But, oh man, Jeff fucking Sessions. Alright. That guy is now in charge of making sure, in charge of law enforcement all across the United States. If somebody that looks like me gets shot, Jeff Sessions is not going to do a goddamn thing about it. That's what it boils down to. All right, Secretary of Labor Andrew Putster. Yeah, staunch opponent for minimum wage laws. So the guy you put as Secretary of Labor says we don't want wage laws. We don't want minimum wage laws. All right. So look, Trump supporters. When Trump said, "I'm going to raise the minimum wage to $10," you think Secretary of Labor Andrew Putster, he has putts in his name.
That's not what saying. It's close, but that does not say putts.
You think that guy who's against minimum wage laws? Look, he has a fast food chains. The reason why he's mentioned minimum wage laws is because it affects his bottom line. If he's paying those guys a little bit of extra money, he's not making the millions of dollars that he needs. It affects. God damn it! I can't make an extra $2 million because I had to pay these guys an extra $3 to get them up to $15 an hour. Shit. I can't buy that painting or that Ferrari and I have to give these guys a living wage. You believe Donald Trump is going to give you $10 an hour minimum wage hike? All right. Let's see that happen. Secretary of Labor. All right. Health and Human Services Tom Price. Tom Price is the orthopedic surgeon that tried to shut down or defund Planned Parenthood through a budget maneuver. He's described it as 100% pro-life record. He is pro-life on everything across the board. I don't know who's 100% on anything. Tom Price is. If women's health is on the line, Tom Price is.
At least he's committed.
He's committed to being against women's health. Health and Human Services, Tom Price. It is comic bookish, but no, it gets worse. Rick Perry for energy. You gotta let that marinate. Rick Perry was the, I'm not gonna call him an idiot, but Rick Perry was the guy that was on the debate stage and says, "I'm going to defund several departments of government. Department of Energy, Department of Defense, and yeah, that was one more." He didn't know what the three departments were. It wasn't defense. It was like the EPA and some other two departments that he didn't necessarily even know what they were.
But he was going to defund them.
Yeah, he wanted to get rid of them. I have strong feelings about the three departments, but I will get back to you on what those three departments are. All right.
And now he's
in charge of energy. How is Rick Perry in charge of energy? Man. Oh, God. Look at this. Cooling for the camera. All right, Ben Carson. Housing of Urban Development, Bill Carson.
Ben.
You know that Ben Carson turned down a position because he said I wasn't qualified. And the brain surgeon that wasn't qualified for whatever other position that he at least had a slight bit of, interest in, a slight bit of experience in, turns it down for housing and urban development. I gotta be honest, man, there is something a little racist about that, and I don't quite know why I think that. Not so much that Trump did it that way. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's something.
I got one.
He's the only black.
I got one black guy. Let's put him in the thing that has urban in it. Let's put him in charge of something urban.
Put him in charge of the thing that has urban in it.
He's urban. He's black. Let's go.
I gotta be honest.
And go.
I wouldn't have taken that role. I don't care. I wouldn't have taken that role. I don't. All right. Ben Carson, who wasn't, who said he wasn't experienced enough for the other one. Ben Carson, urban development. He was raised in poverty, apparently, so that makes him, ready for that.
Well, it's funny because I was reading originally, I heard something like he used to live in income-based housing.
So now he's experienced it.
Then like a letter came out or an article came out where they were like, his family never lived in, like, they were like, no, the fuck, we weren't on welfare. It's like, okay, so now you have zero qualifications.
Oh,
I saw somebody say something that said, oh, I went to the doctor one time, so now I'm qualified to be a brain surgeon.
Right,
It's equivalent
right.
to Ben Carson
Right.
being in
man.
charge of housing and urban development.
All right. You thought the others was bad. This gets more cartoonish. It's so cartoonish. Part of me is not even mad at it. Part of me is like, this is just ridiculous. It's funny and ridiculous. Scott Pruitt for the EPA. Scott Pruitt is a climate change denier ahead of the EPA.
And a longtime enemy of the EPA.
Right, that's what I was going to
How do you get that name?
He was an enemy. If I'm not mistaken, he's suing the EPA. Right? Let me see.
Part of legal action waived by 28 states against... Sorry, I'm taking over.
The Clean Power Act, and everybody Barack Obama's curb clean. So Obama is trying to curb greenhouse gases. The tepid amount that he's trying to do. And this guy was like, whoa, you're doing too much.
That's unlawful and overreaching.
You are overreaching in your authority, mister.
You protecting that environment, motherfuckers.
And listen to this. A debate is far from settled, he said in May. Scientists continue to disagree about the degree and extent of global warming and its connections to the actions of mankind. No, they're not. No. Unless you call it a disagreement between 99 and 1. Hey, put all those 99 and put that 1 in a room. Let's see how much disagreement there is. There's no disagreement. You're not hearing the 1. There's no disagreement. I read on NASA's thing that they were talking about temperatures going up like 6 to 10 degrees if things continue to go the way they are. Wow. Unless that's what he means, disagreement. There's disagreement between 2 to 10 degrees. 2 is a deal breaker for us. so okay, let's say that the disagreement is between 2 and 10 degrees. At least say that. This guy doesn't even believe it. What are you basing that on? Just because you worked for, he's been a puppet of the fossil fuel industries. Look, you have to base the world on something. And I'm not mad at people for beliefs in God or spirituality, stuff like that. I'm not. We don't know what this is. Reality is an open book. And somebody may try to validate what it is, but fair enough. But they're talking about the physical world. We don't know what that is. The physical world in relation to what? Physicists don't even take the idea of non-physicality as part of it because the basis assumption is they take it as a religious belief to some degree. So fair enough. But you got to base it on something. And if you're talking about the physical world, you're talking about physics. And you're talking about scientists. And those guys are pretty good at research, particularly when they don't have anything else like oil company ties affecting their research. How are you going to be a part of the EPA and not believe in the science? What are you basing that on? What are you basing this on? What are you going to base your duties on? What the hell are you going to do at the EPA all day? What are you basing that on? Is that a religious belief? Then say so. Is that some belief in Thor or Bugs Bunny? What are you basing your belief system on? What are you basing what you're going to be doing at the EPA on? I don't know. It's not on science. So, Scott Pruitt, climate change denier, good job. So, against the EPA, in charge of the EPA. Alright. Wilbur Ross, make America great again. Alright, Wilbur. Billionaire investor. A vulture capitalist, king of bankruptcy, because of his knack for extracting profit from failing businesses. You know what? I would wager that many of these guys who are getting these posts donated to Donald Trump. And I'm going to look that up. I would wager anything that he's putting people in cabinet positions, not because of any qualifications, but because they gave him money for his campaign. I would wager anything. No, look, I'm guessing. So don't hold me to it. I'm wagering. That's what I'm putting up there. I'll check later. Transportation, Eliana Chow. Former Secretary of Labor, Deputy Secretary of Transportation.
Married to Mitch McConnell.
Right, that's interesting. Alright. I don't know much about her. Nikki Haley, UN ambassador, and she has no experience for that role, but Nikki Haley is sane of sorts. She was governor of South Carolina. Secretary of Interior, Ryan Sinkle. My dog is invading the room. That's okay. Montana congressman in his second term, former Navy SEAL, decorated Iraq combat veteran. Lifetime outdoorsman, a conservationist who favors protection of federal lands, but he has voted in favor of glass drilling, so he's a mixed bag. Right. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. Her family has a net worth of $5.1 billion. That's awesome. Lobbying for school vouchers and been criticized for undermining public sector schools. All right, so.
And she's what? Education. Oh, that's fitting.
Yeah, she's Eric Prince, founder of Blackwater. Oh, yeah. All right. So, look. This is another weird one. So, he's putting somebody in charge of a department that will very well may rape the state funds or rape funds from the federal government to put in charter schools. Charter schools essentially says, I'm going to take government money, give it to private interests to do something that government is already doing. And I'm not giving you any bang for your buck. I am not even giving you a benefit where you can see where your kid is better educated. Why? What's the point? I mean, at the end of the day, you're essentially saying, I'm taking federal money, giving it to a private sector for no improvement, and you're taking profits and giving it more to the top of the guy who's the head of the private company, and which means you're going to have to pay the other people less. You would have to. I mean, if you're doing the same service for less amount, how are you doing that if the guy at the top is getting a little bit more? All right, so next person. Small Business Administration limit. Man.
Mick Mahone?
From the wrestler. No, that's a WWE wrestler. That's the wife of the guy who owns the wrestling thing.
Okay, but what else? What else does she do? Like, what else?
She's the wife of the guy who owns the wrestling. Oh, man.
Okay.
For decades, ran the premier pro wrestling league in the country.
Oh, so she ran WWE.
Together, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, small business. You know, I get it, Trump.
It's $1 billion business. I'm wagering that these people gave money to her campaign. I would wager anything. Good for it. All right, so the next deplorable, National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Look, some of the other ones were comical. It's not going to be comical when they get in office, but just comical in regards to, I'm putting somebody in charge of the EPA who hates the EPA. That type of stuff. This guy is actually dangerous. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, retired U.S. Army General and former Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. So this is the guy who greatly dislikes Islam. He essentially says we're at a war with Islam. We're not at war with
Islam.
Yeah,
the entirety?
There's 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. We're at war with 1.5 billion Muslims? No, we're not. No, we're not. He also, vocal critic of Obama, and falsely claimed that Sharia law is spreading across the United States. He thinks that Sharia law, where? Take me there. Like, I would even pay the money to go. I'd even go with him. I'd go with him. I want to see this place in the United States where Sharia law is taken over. I want to see it. I'm imagining. I don't believe him. I greatly disbelieve him. I think the guy's a liar, personally. So, next thing. Ryan Priebus. There's a great clip on YouTube that you should check out where Chris Matthews gets in his ass, and Ryan Priebus is stunned by the whole thing. Chris Matthews essentially told Ryan Priebus that Mitt Romney was running a racist campaign. Ryan Priebus was shocked by the accusation, and Chris Matthews just plowed into him. Now, I know people dislike Chris Matthews, but Chris Matthews, when he's on his game, oh man, he can prosecute. He can get into somebody's ass. So this guy, he is going to be chief of staff for Trump. He was the head of the Republican National Committee. I should say who he is. Oh, Steve Bannon. Oh, this guy was the former chairman of Breitbart News.
Mm.
Oh,
He looks creepy, like a child
It is-
molester or something.
look, he's part of this alt-right. Look, alt-right is just white nationalism. That's all it is. They changed the name to make it more palatable, hoping that people don't know what the name is. News would be like, oh, alt-right, alt-right, alt-right. Nobody ever asked me, hey, alt-right, alternate right. No, it's white nationalists. You could even call them white supremacists. That wouldn't necessarily be that far off base. Steve Bannon, he made shit up for a living on the internet. That was his job. And he's, oh man, chief strategist. You talking about a warped reality. And they didn't even get into Michael Bolton. Michael Bolton, look, just so we're clear, Bolton is a lunatic. He is, man. Bolton is a lunatic. Bolton is a guy who Bush tried to put him, I think it was on a UN Security Council or something. They couldn't get him on because people were like, he is a lunatic. Bolton was one of the guys who was one of the architects for the Iran deal. I was like, give me this.
Hold on, our dog is being
inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bolton was one of the guys who was the architects of the Iraq War. If Trump is going to get on stage and browbeat Jeb Bush, and look, I liked it. I thought it was strong. I was like, good job, Trump. You can't bring Bolton into your government. You can't have him as a strategist if you're going to go against the guys talking about you were against the Iraq War and that you're going to have a go at George Bush about it. God damn, man. And look, that doesn't include the people who's like inside of the interior. Bolton is going to be the people who are choosing to determine. I think he ended up getting like Assistant Secretary of State or something. But he's going to be choosing people who are going to be in government. People who are maniacs like him. And look, I know this went a long way, and to take it back to where it started, Kanye, I think you're going to be greatly displeased, dude. I do not think you're going to be smiling like this in 4 years. I don't think you're going to be smiling like that in 2 years. If you're going to look at it, Trump is going to drop taxes to an ungodly rate. He is going to explode the deficit by trillions. I'm not saying it. They said it. They're saying they're going to cut the corporate tax rate. We can't stop them. There's nobody to stop them. What's the Democrats going to do? They're going to fall in line. The Democrats are going to agree to continue because their donors are going to tell them bow